嗨，大家好，歡迎返到我嘅泳之友，係啦，今日好開心咧，請到我好朋友Brian Gruder，佢咧就係 Certified Financial Planner，大家都同大家見過面噶啦。咁咧佢咧就喺美國都好出名㗎，佢成日上電台啦，好似 ABC 啊、Frog 啊呢啲嘅 network 度去做下演講啊咁啦。咁佢最近咧就上咗Fox News 喎，咁咧就同 Fox News 咧就介紹下大家新嘅 stimulus plan Biden 嘅新嘅 stimulus plan 嘅 tax benefit，咁咧佢即係就同Fox News 咧就做咗訪問啦，咁我一陣會播俾大家睇，咁咧佢主要咧同大家講咧就係根據呢個 stimulus plan 咧就如果你係個 income 喺美國下有75,000同埋至到以下咧，其實就唔使點樣交稅喎，咁幾好啊，係咪啊？咁咧，但係咧，如果你喺高過75,000同埋即係75,000同至到10,000 $10,000一年咧，咁咧就交稅咧，只不過係1.8%嘅啫。咁咧，但係如果你喺3萬至4萬蚊以下咧，就仲有 refund 添喎，有3,500嘅 refund。咁咧，大家都可以聽一聽以下佢同Fox News 做嘅訪問啦。咁咧佢就喺咁，我亦都同佢做咗訪問啦，同大家傾下偈。咁咧就認識佢多啲啦。咁其實原來佢係我 neighbor 嚟㗎喎，佢住喺我附近嘅。咁咧就咁我問佢點樣開始啦，點樣可以上呢個同呢個好多美國嘅主流媒體做個佢嘅 financial advisor 啦。咁咧佢就講咗個故事，佢點樣開始話俾我哋聽啦。其實最主要佢初咧就係做 broker。咁咧佢個 boss 咧就叫佢周圍打話俾啲顧客啊咁樣啦。咁咧點知佢就打咗好多去啲電台度。咁好多電台初都即係唔係好 respond 啦。咁啊點知一個咧就 KCAL9 News 咧就請咗佢上嚟做一個 mutual fund 嘅訪問喎。咁咧就傳旨之後咧就一個接一個咁，而家做咗成1000個訪問都有㗎啦，成日都喺電視見到佢嘅。咁咧就所以佢咧就有呢個機會喺個鏡頭同大家傾偈啦。咁亦都同大家俾好多financial 嘅意見啦，嘅advice 啦。咁我哋好多謝佢。咁佢都講咗同大家之後分享下佢點樣 keep fit 啊，佢都好即係仲好型啊，同埋好健康啊。咁佢話最緊要每日跑1萬步啦，即係做多啲運動啊，食嘢咁啦，咁我可以 keep 住自己即係喺個鏡頭面前又 look good 啊，又 healthy 啊咁啦。咁佢亦都同我講下佢即係佢點樣點樣去培養呢個佢嘅好嘅即係character 啦。咁佢就話佢個 grandparent 就係喺芝加哥嚟嘅，就啱啱喺個大蕭條嗰度咧就係長大嘅。咁啊由細到大咧就教佢點樣去儲蓄啦，咁啊教佢買 mutual fund 啦。咁佢買咗 mutual fund，佢啲 grandparent 咧又去match 佢嗰啲 fund 啦，一人一半咁樣啦。咁啊培養到由細到大咧都有呢個儲蓄嘅習慣啦。咁同埋最緊要做人咧就係要有信譽，有信譽咧最緊要誠實。就算你佢嘅家人唔中意聽嘅講嘢，佢都會提醒你嘅。因為咧即係佢話即係有成功好快，你要好多年先至成功，但係將你失敗咧，可以一瞬間你就冇晒㗎啦。咁所以咧，即係大家投資都要好小心啊咁啦。咁佢話又教我哋點揾一個好嘅financial planner 啦。咁啊最緊要譬如你有啲 tax advisor 咁咧，最緊要問你要攞你個 tax tax 嘅嗰個tax form 啦，要睇下你嘅 tax 嘅 background 啦。如果佢唔問你攞個 tax return 咧，咁即係佢都唔清楚你其實你嘅tax 啊 financial background 啊，咁對你嘅了解唔加深咧，其實都幫唔到你嘅。咁所以佢話即係我好中意佢嘅 character 啦，佢又好誠實啦個人，咁啊 即係所以我都好開心同佢有一個咁好嘅朋友，我咁啊同佢講係佢係我哋嘅 Art Guardian Angel，咁啊幫到我哋好多俾啲誠實嘅意見，咁我哋咧一路咧下一集咧就會請佢上嚟講下關於保險啦，因為保險好似佢話齋，好似啲 defense 咁，係幫你咧你去買股票啊，去投資啊，就係好 aggressive。但係保險咧，你都要有個 defense，點樣保護你自己，唔會去損失好多你嘅財富啦。咁跟住咧，佢仲再上嚟同我哋講下，我哋譬如我哋做咗咁耐嘢，我哋都要 plan 下我哋嘅 retirement 啦，退休啦。其實退休唔係話你去到退休你先至計劃咯，要你第一日做嘢開始你就要計劃點樣你嘅退休 plan 明，你去到退休嗰時你就乜都冇啦。所以其實咧，真係好啱係即係年青人都要聽下嘅。咁所以咧之後嗰兩集咧，我都會同大家分享啦。咁而家咧就我哋不如聽下我哋嘅訪問啦。
If you make less than $100,000 a year, you can expect to pay little to no federal income taxes. This is all thanks to the stimulus checks and tax credits you've received, all part of President Biden's March stimulus package.
People making under $75,000 potentially be paying very low or no income taxes. Between $75,000 and $100,000, a very, very low income tax bracket.
So new estimates by Congress's official forecasters show the latest stimulus package will drive down those tax rates on low and middle income earners. Generally speaking, if you make less than 75 grand annually, you will likely owe nothing in federal income taxes. If you earn between 30 and 40,000, thanks to refundable tax credits, you will get back an average of $3,500 per return. And then those making between 75,000 and 100,000 will pay less than a 2% average tax rate this year. Well, I spoke to a local financial planner today about what this means for those of you who will benefit from these tax breaks.
And I've encouraged people anytime, especially over this COVID crisis we've had, is to use this money and tax breaks to try to get back on track with your finances or try to at least get ahead. It says, unfortunately, most people, when it came to finances, really had a huge problem during COVID.
Brian Gilder there says there are 2 steps you can take to get back on track financially. First and foremost, make sure your household has a budget plan in place and then live by that. Secondly, he says your best investment is to pay off credit card debt because that racks up so much interest. You absolutely want to get rid of that just as soon as you can. Bottom line.
Time you might be hungry right now.
I ate earlier.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I try not to eat late at night.
Good. That's why you're in such a good shape.
I don't know about that.
You can have a episode about how you keep fit.
Well, you're in pretty good shape. So I mean, what do you do? I mean, and how you're
probably
fit.
We're probably the same age. You have 20 more experience. What year you graduate?
I'm 40. I'll be 48.
48? That's good. I'm older than you. I'm older than you.
Don't look anywhere near your age.
I'm 52.
You don't look anywhere close to 52. I would say like late 30s.
Yeah, well, I learned my lesson, and like I have 3 kids, and I take care of them so much. And I got muscle pain, and I have surgery, and even need surgery. So after that, I really work out every day, and look, I'm in keto diet right now. Yeah, so it's really helped. Yeah, the keto diet really make me in shape and exercise, and just keep moving. I think that's really helpful, and I can feel the difference. I used to be like tired and all that. Right now, I feel so much better. Now I feel like I'm 25.
Yeah. I feel like I try to work out. I do elliptical one day, and then I'll do another day like an hour of like bands and weights. Nothing crazy, but just like the bands, 10, 15 pound weights, and just do reps and take the dog for a walk. And I always say goal is to get 10,000 steps a day. Easily.
Yeah, same. I used to be better, but COVID is so hard because I don't have the gym. So now I do the weight at home and yoga, and I used to swim every day at the gym, but now it's too cold. We have an outdoor pool, but I couldn't take it. I like it. I need the indoor pool at the gym.
Of course.
So I cannot wait until the gym's open, So
yeah, no.
Keep it up.
I would never guess your age. I would say late 30s. You're asking me.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and I also work at the medical office. I'm a CFO at the medical office, and it's they do
Mhm.
skincare and laser. So I do have laser once a month. So it's they call a laser facial, and that help.
Oh,
Okay, so that really helped
I
too.
think it's
So
probably more. I think it's probably more your way you keep yourself, diet and probably
everything,
exercise. Yeah,
everything,
a
everything.
combination, just like
Yeah.
in.
You need everything.
Oh,
So
I
you
get.
keep it up too. You look really good in the camera. So yeah, I love to
Oh
see you
yeah,
more on TV. Yeah, it's great.
I'm supposed to go on next. I'm supposed to go on next week for a couple of things. Fox and ABC about. I don't know what it is. It goes live. It's like 3-4 minute live thing, and they go, "We're going to talk about this," and of course they come on. We talk nothing about what we were supposed to talk about. You just got to wing it, and it's live, so you can't. It's
There's no
just
script,
live.
right? They don't have script or anything, right? There's
Oh
no
no,
script.
oh
They
no. We
just
just
ask you, just like I
yeah.
ask you a question, you just say, yeah. Because I can see you very smooth, a lot of experience. So I don't even, need anything. But it's great. Yeah, it
Just
takes a
speak
lot of
it. Just like here
experience.
it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when the
it's just
first
experience. I know it is.
when did the first time you do the sorry I'm like interview you personally when did the
Go
first
ahead.
time you're in the front of the camera like on the helping
I
the network?
I was I was 24 years old, and the way it happened is I was in the brokerage industry, and my boss said to me, I was just starting out. I was going actually to law school, and I was also
Oh,
just became a. I was in the brokerage industry at that time. I'm not anymore because I couldn't stand it. So my boss would say back then this was in the 90s. He would say, "Here's a phone book. You need to go cold call people," which I really did not like doing. So I just thought to myself, if I cold call somebody and they're willing to give me money, well, that's not bright. That's not good. Who wants to make a relationship like that? So what I did was I called all the news people, like all the stations, and wrote articles and sent it out to hundreds and hundreds of people. And of course, no one answered. And then finally, there's one person who was from KCAL 9, which was the home of the Lakers. The consumer reporter, his name was Alan Mendelson, and he's got a Best Buy thing now. He's the one who gave me my first opportunity. So he just gave me an idea. He goes, "Well, I usually don't like brokers, this and that." And I said, "Well, I don't like them either, but I think it's important to talk." It was talking about mutual funds, about diversification of mutual funds. So gave me my first one. Did it at 20. I wore glasses and everything because I didn't want to look too young. Because everyone said you're going to look too young and no one's going to trust you.
you still look
So
young.
I still have a copy of the first one. I still have a copy of the first one, but it started from there and then just I've probably done thousands of them. So
Wow.
it's I
Yeah,
really enjoy it. I enjoy doing it.
yeah, because when I look at you on the clip, I'm like, oh my God, he looked like he should be an actor or something,
Well, if you can
So
find me, if you want to be an agent and book me something and find me something, I'm more than happy to pay a percentage. And the good thing is, I make sure I have no debt and I pay all my bills on time. So if I'm going to
you know
pay
how to
somebody,
manage
I pay
it.
somebody. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
so
triple A, like they say in the insurance industry, triple A rated. That is me. No one
yeah.
will ever say they never got paid from me.
Yeah, because it's great, you have that skill. It's not easy to come by. I can tell, you got a lot of experience. You started 24, that's why.
Yeah, I know. I
And
think I think if you're passionate about what you do and you're confident in what you're doing, I think it's easy. Not easy, but it's just you've got so much built up in your mind. You just know kind of like know where it's gonna go.
and you know
Like
your stuff
when you
too.
say something,
You can wink it.
I try to. I
It's
try to.
cool.
I try to.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you. I had a lot of good time. It's great. Yeah. So,
Oh, it's fun.
yeah,
I
thank
have a good
you. Yeah, it's even so interesting to getting to know your background. Maybe you should talk about a little bit like that. It's just so interesting how you started.
yeah, I mean,
Do you
I mean,
mind? Do you
it's
mind to share your story a
no, no,
little
I'll
bit?
talk.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly how well, I can tell
It's
you when
interesting.
I came from when I was 13 years old. My grandfather would come and visit. My grandfather came from the Depression, and he was one of six kids. He was the oldest, and he had five sisters. And he was the oldest. So it was in Chicago. So what happened was that when during the Depression, he would pick up the scrap metal. He would like help clean up, and they let him keep the scrap metal. So then he would scrap it and make extra money. Had the paper route, all these things you hear about. I had to walk 5 miles, and he lived the Depression. You hear about the stories of Depression. He
Yeah.
lived in the Depression, and he would when he would come over. a lot of times we would go to get a pizza. So we would drive. And one time he would, in the middle of our street, there was a penny, and he actually walked out in the middle of the street and picked up the penny. And I told him, I said, Grandpa, I go, my mom says it's such a dangerous street. We're not allowed to go in the middle of the street. He goes, when I was growing up, one penny could mean the difference between eating and not eating. So I just always had a value. And then I remember when I was 13, he told me, he goes, you're 13 years old, it's time for you to get a job. So I got my first job at 13 and a half in the summertime, where I was a camp counselor at a recreation center. And I remember the salary was 40 hours a week, and you got $60 a week as a counselor in training. And I remember getting my first check, and my grandfather, who wore that, the old school, had the hat and the jacket type. And he would, I told him, I go, here's my first check. He was, it was like, he was so proud and so happy. So he said, I want you to take $25 out of that paycheck. I want you to put in this thing called a mutual fund. And he matched it. So he put $25 in. So I had $50.
That's pretty good.
And he said, from now on, he goes, from now on, every time you get money, you get paid, you take a little bit of money out of your check and you put it in a mutual fund, or you put it away, you save it, and you let it grow. To this day, I've been doing that.
Wow, you might be a millionaire now.
No, I'm just a blue collar worker. That's it. I always believe in you be blue collar, never get too high, never get too low, and you just be realistic. And people always say about rich and not rich. I don't consider myself rich. A lot of people are not rich, because when you're rich, your money works for you. I work for my money, so I'm not rich. I still have to work. But I think, one thing he always would say is that when he ran a forklift company out in Long Beach. It was like he would do like wholesale and he'd sell parts. And I remember one time I was down there to Long Beach with my dad, and we went there to go visit him. And some people were asking him questions, and everyone would say, his name was David. They go, David, should I buy this, this, or that? He goes, no, you need this, and you need that. You don't need this. And they would just do it. They'd buy it. Go, okay, how much is it? And they just give him a check, or they give him a credit card. And I go, Grandpa, why is it that whatever you tell them, they listen to? They don't even question what you're saying. Because it took me 40 years to build this reputation. It takes 40 seconds and one wrong move, and you lose everything. So always be upfront with people. Always tell them what they need. And in the short term, you might not like it because you might lose business. And I've lost business because you look at what the long term is. And I always look at 26 years. I'm going to tell people what is the right thing to do, because it's not worth telling someone one wrong thing you do, one bad decision, trying to take a shortcut. It destroys your 26 years, because you can't buy a reputation. Yeah. And I think I learned my attitude from my grandmother, who actually recently just passed away a couple months ago because of COVID. She was 98 years old, and yeah, so
sorry about that.
Yeah, it was very rough. It's been rough. She was, she had a mouth on her. She would say it the way it is. She was very to the point. She ran something similar. She ran with cars and parts, a parts company. So she was a very successful businesswoman, and she was always very to the point. Like, dress nice, be professional, always respect people. She was always someone, she would always respect people. She didn't care what you did. If you were somebody that was making $2 an hour or $200 an hour, she would treat you the same. She was always about respect. Yeah, nice very, very respectful. But if you did not work hard and you were lazy, she didn't like you. That she was just like, hard work. You work hard, good things will happen. Treat people the way you would want to be treated. That's something I've always taught my kids in life, and especially in today's time we're in, and everything's always crazy what's going on. And my simple rule is always treat people the way you would want to be treated, and a lot of good things are going to happen.
It's like a mirror. I told my kid too, it's like a mirror, right? So you want people to look at you, you have to treat it the same way. Yeah, I love your character. He not just smart. He have a really good heart and personality too. The more I know you, it's like, oh wow. Oh, too bad you married.
What's that?
Oh, too bad you married. Right?
Yeah, I've been married like almost. I'll be 20 years this August.
Wow, my God.
20 years this August, and Yeah, I mean, it's just like any relationship. You go through your ups and downs, and it's just part of life. But I think there's always I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. There's always ups and downs and everything. Family things happen in families. Every family's got at least one in them, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. There's always that one in the family that can cause a problem. A lot of them have multiples. So I just consider myself just a normal average person that I go through what everyone else is going through. So I think I understand what everyone does go through. When people say, I have this issue, and part of being a financial planner, I think, is you got to psychologically understand a lot of people. And I've heard every story possible. I've seen situations, and I've probably been through that. I mean, I consider myself just the blue collar, hardworking guy, and I always will be. And I think, unfortunately, you need money, but a lot of times I've seen money is the root of all evil. And I've just seen families get destroyed. And it's just one thing that everyone thinks I'm crazy. And they always say to me, I don't play the lottery ever, because I don't want to win that. I don't need that much money. I don't want that kind of money, because all it does is, most of the time when you win the lottery, you go broke anyway a couple years later. And then,
your true manage it.
Yeah, and it's just I know it sounds I don't want that kind of money. I don't need hundreds of millions of dollars. Like I tell a lot of people, be the blue collar little millionaire and be happy. Everyone's trying to become this multi worth billions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Realistically, you're not going to make that. But realistically, I could teach you how to become a little millionaire. I always tell people, if you had $1 million in the bank, a paid off house, and no credit card debt, how would you feel? And a majority of people would say, if I could get that, I'd be extremely happy. That's very doable. That is very doable, very realistic. It's just, unfortunately, in today's society we live in, everyone's talking in the billions. When we don't need billions, we just need a little million. And I think most people would be extremely happy. I'll tell you one quick story. It's just actually because I do a lot of public speaking. So as I'm doing public speaking, they do a lot of interviews with you, and they ask you questions. And one of these events, one of the agents was trying to book me on. It was speaking in front of about 400 small business owners about taking control of your finances. So he thought I'd be perfect for it. So the person asked me, interviewing me, and he goes, "Are you worth over $25 million?" I said, "No." I mean, I could have lied and just said, "Yeah, I am," because most people just say, "Yeah, I am." You ever see these people? They always say, "Yeah, I'm worth that." And they have a picture next to an airplane they're looking at saying, "I have a private jet." They don't own the private jet. They're just taking a picture next to it. They don't own it. Let's be realistic. So I told him, I'm not worth 25 million, and I never will be. And I said, I don't even care about that. He goes, "Really? Because you never want to be worth that much?" I go, "No." I go, let me ask you a question. I go, if you had $1 million in the bank, a paid off house, and no credit card debt, I go, would you be happy? He goes, I would be, quote, ecstatic. So I said, these 400 small business owners I'm going to be talking to, potentially be talking to, do you think if they had $1 million in the bank, a paid off house, and no credit card debt, do you think they would be extremely happy? Because yeah, a majority of them would. So I said, why do you want someone that's worth over $25 million speaking to a bunch of people who will never make $25 million? You can't relate to them. So he goes, "What's your point?" I go, my point is, I go, with all due respect, shut up and be a little millionaire and don't complain. That's the goal. We don't need to do something that's out of our reach.
Yeah.
Why?
Make a substantial goal and be happy. The reachable goal.
And to make a long story short, I didn't get the speaking engagement because they wanted someone with over 25 million. I could have just said I am, and they would have given it to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's just, I always tell it to people, be a little, don't worry about what all the big people are doing. I think we get too caught up in the moment, and we're thinking about becoming worth tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, and we don't even have $1 million yet. So it's sort of like, you can't throw the football 50 yards. Yeah, you can't make a 50, like Tom Brady. He could throw the ball 50 yards, no problem. But before he could do that, he's got to warm up and get to throw it 10 yards correctly, then 20 yards, and build from it. So don't worry about being the superstar. Just become the little millionaire, and you'll be extremely happy. And don't tell anyone either, because then people ask for loans.
That's true.
Quiet.
That's true. I like your character and personality. It's be honest, be real, actually, right? Yeah.
Just try. I try to be as realistic. That's why, like in sports, I always like the up and coming players, the hardworking players, the journey players, the ones that don't get the underrated. I'm always about the unsung heroes. I like the players that were just like the solid players. You never heard much, but they were just really good players. And that's the way I played. When I played high school ball, and I was just the award I won was the 100% award, meaning I was the one who hustled the best. I wasn't the most talented, but I always said to myself, I'm going to not let anyone outbeat me or out hustle me today. So if I talent wise, yeah, they might have the talent, but I've got the work ethic. So
Good.
that's just the way
important. That's important to have the CPA or financial planner. They have to have a good character. They have to be truthful. They'll not lie to you. This is why a lot of people worry when they get a professional help. It's like, can I trust them? That's a really are they lying to me? There's a lot of question like that. Yeah.
But it's funny you say that, because the first thing I always tell people when they interview me, I go, here are my credentials. Here are my numbers, my CFP number, my insurance license number. Here are the websites to look me up. And I want you to look me up, as you should interview more people too. You just don't interview me, interview a couple other advisors or insurance agents who are going to sell you insurance, or people you're going to consulting with. Look them up. I go, here, I want you to look them up. And I go, and I want you to interview different people, because you want to make sure you make a good decision. Because that's the way I always tell when people are interviewing advisors. I always tell people, I always ask the questions like, why did you want to become an advisor? Why? I want to see if they have some passion in them, because if you have passion, then they're probably going to do the best job for you. And making sure, how much education did you have? How far did you go with education? Are you an advisor, or are you a true advisor? Are you here just to make money and you don't really care what happens to me?
Yeah, it's make a living.
Commission based.
Yeah.
And also another thing is, like, most of the time when you talk to some of these advisors, and I think it's important, is are they, when they say, I want to invest money, okay, you want to invest money, but are they looking at your whole financial picture? Are they looking at how much debt you have? Are they looking at your tax return, your insurance policies, your estate plan? All these things are really, really crucial, because they all play a crucial role. Not just invest my money, get paid my commission, and away I go. It's more the whole picture, because everything relates. Because let me tell you something. If you tell me you have $100,000 in credit card debt and you want to invest in the market, I'm going to tell you not to invest in the market and go and pay off the credit card debt. Yes, I won't make any money on that, because I don't get paid for you putting money in credit card debt. That's just common sense, and it should be done, because that's in your best interest. Paying off a 20% credit card debt interest versus trying to get you to invest in the stock market, I'd have to make you some 28% rate of return, which is a lot of risk to do that. So I'm always big about getting rid of credit card debt first. And I think most advisors, I don't want to speak for them, but I just think that's important when you're interviewing an advisor. Are they looking out for your best interests? Very, very important. Also, your tax return. A lot of times, the funny thing is, most advisors never ask for a copy of your tax return. Why? Let me tell you something. The tax return, you give me a copy of your tax return, I'll be able to explain 95% of you. Just give me a copy, and I have it's like the X-ray. It's an X-ray for me. I could tell exactly what's going on and ask you the pertinent questions that relate to you. And I always tell advisors, like, if you're not asking for a copy of the tax return, how are you giving people financial advice? I never, it just blows my mind away. So
that's great. Everyone needs a Brian. Everyone needs a Brian, because you here to look out for us. It's not just like here, I know like some people just like here to make a living, or here to make money, make commission, so it's good that you actually look out for my personal benefit, right? It's like I need help, a guardian angel.
Well, I look at every client as though, what would I do if it was myself or my family? So if my parents, obviously I'd want to do the best for my parents, my grandparents, family. I would look at it, go, would I do this for my family? I always put myself in that situation. Would I do this? Like even today, I had that conversation with this lady, and I said, look, if it was my money, I would not have all the 68% of my portfolio into this one stock. I would sell a good portion of it and spread it out to different asset classes. But that's just me. And, a lot of people don't listen too. That's fine. It's just, you try to give the best. You could bring a horse to water, but they got to want to drink it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I always tell people, be suspicious. I don't assume guilt until proven innocent when it comes to your money.
Yeah.
I would.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for. I love your advice. So everybody should just pay attention, and I'm glad you're here to help us. Great. So do you mind if I can use that to kind of show it your story? I think they're very interesting, and then we can start another
Yeah.
episode for our insurance. Yeah, so
Sure.
I can just cut talking like that, and people really get to know you. It's not just like I'm here to da 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 da, but they really know your personality.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So great. Thank you. So，係多謝大家收睇我嘅節目，記得 subscribe and 俾 like 啦。